Welcome back to the Daily Donald. It's February 6, 2025, and today we're diving into what might be the biggest shakeup in American education history: President Trump's executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. Love it or hate it, this move is about to change the way America educates its children, and we're breaking down every angle of it. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because at 1,000 subs, we go live. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Before we talk about today's bombshell decision, let's rewind. How did America get here? Education in the United States has been a long and evolving experiment. Back in the post-Revolutionary War era, education was mostly a local affair, no big government telling states what to do. Schools were run by communities, churches, and sometimes businesses that wanted an educated workforce. And guess what? It worked. Fast forward to the late 1800s. Boom. Industrialization meant we needed a more uniform system to pump out workers for the factories and clerks for the offices. Enter the Progressive Era reforms. By the early 20th century, public schooling was standard, but still, no federal oversight. The states handled it all. That changed with Reconstruction and the Civil Rights Movement, when the federal government started stepping in to enforce desegregation and equal access. Suddenly, Washington had a hand in what was being taught in your local schools, and not everyone was happy about it. Then came the birth of the U.S. Department of Education in 1979, courtesy of Jimmy Carter. His administration argued that education needed a national strategy to stay competitive. Critics saw it as unnecessary government overreach. Sound familiar? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. America is getting its butt kicked in education. Countries like Finland, Singapore, and Japan are leading in math, science, and reading. Meanwhile, the U.S. is slipping in global rankings. Why? A bloated bureaucracy, outdated teaching methods, and a curriculum focused more on social experiments than actual knowledge. We've spent billions, and yet our test scores are going down, not up. Back in the 1950s and 60s, the U.S. dominated in education. The Cold War pushed us to be the best. Sputnik launched, and suddenly, STEM was everything. But now we have debates over woke curriculum and CRT, while China is pumping out engineers at an unprecedented rate. Who's winning the long game here? Not us. So why now? Why is Trump pulling the trigger on this executive order? For years, conservatives have argued that education decisions should be in the hands of states, parents, and local school boards, not bureaucrats in D.C. Trump promised he would drain the swamp, and now he's taking a wrecking ball to one of its most controversial institutions. He says that eliminating the DOE will slash wasteful spending and put power back where it belongs, local communities. His critics? They say this is an attack on public education and will leave millions of students without federal support. Who's right? That depends on who you ask. This isn't a flip of the switch decision. Congress still has to weigh in, and you can bet Democrats are going to fight this tooth and nail. But here's the wild part. Some progressive activists agree. They argue that standardized testing and federal mandates have hurt innovation in education. Strange bedfellows, huh? Then there's the money issue. The federal government provides billions in funding for schools, especially for low-income districts. If the DOE goes, where does that money come from? States will have to decide how to pick up the slack. And let's just say, not all states have the same priorities when it comes to education. And what about higher education? Student loans, Pell Grants, Title IX protections, all overseen by the DOE. If it disappears, what happens to those programs? Buckle up, folks. This fight is just beginning. So here's the million-dollar question. Does America really need a Department of Education, or is this the right move to save our failing system? Will states handle education better without federal oversight, or will this lead to chaos and inequality? And most importantly, who really benefits from this shakeup? Sound off in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And remember, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We go live at 1,000 subs, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Donald, where we keep it real, keep it bold, and keep you in the know. See you next time.